Hello, today we are going to review our Polid order tracker marketing system. And it's a contact management system where you can group prospects in different ways and perform campaigns on those prospects. So we're going to jump right in here. First thing you got to do is log into the system, which is the login button on the top right. And once you've logged in, your username will show up. We're hiding that to protect our client anonymity. And once you click on that, hop into your user dashboard, and then click on your marketing button, and that will bring you into all of the leads. So we have business-to-business leads and we have business-to-consumer leads. This particular client, their focus is other business, and so we're using this. Now we can assign prospects to different prospect groups. We could filter prospects based on region, based on demographics, and then we can assign them to the prospect group. So if in the future you wanted to add a new list, some of those you wanted to add to an existing group, you could do that. I've already assigned the groups that we're going to be working with. So click on the groups. Right now we have 3 groups. This one is a prospect list that a client gave me. They had a few different lists, and we compiled those, put them in, and we deemed that based on the list, it seemed like it was a 45-mile radius from Riverside as a center point, and so we click on that. We can see all the prospects in this list. Now, each prospect group has its own set of attributes and relationship stages that could be also thought of in terms of a pipeline. Let me jump in there real quick. So the stages is like your sales pipeline. So we start off, the first stage is a newly imported list. Second stage is inactive campaigns. Third stage is warm leads. Fourth is performing an IT audit. These are completely customizable, so you can update at will, and this is where you describe the goals of that. And so the idea is that you're moving the prospect through the relationship stages, and you're going to be sending them multiple campaigns based on which stage they're in. So, and you can also assign attributes to these prospects that you keep track of as you're performing your sales or you're doing your campaigns. So the first one we set up is, this is a pretty big region, so we wanted to focus our efforts on smaller pieces that are a little easier to chew. So I've already assigned the region of Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario. So those are there. So let's take a look at that. Well, before we jump into that, let me show you a couple other things. So notice you can assign, now these attributes become form fields, and you can choose what type of input field you want. So this particular one's a drop down. We want to know who manages the IT for a company. So IT managed by, if we call someone and they're too small, then they have no need. A little bigger organization, maybe the owner does it. This kind of tells us maybe we don't want to call them, maybe they're too small. As they're getting bigger, maybe they assign a tech-savvy employee because they don't have a budget to hire a professional staff or an outside vendor. Then we want to know if they have a professional employee or they're using an outside vendor. Again, these are 100% customizable. You can name them at will. Lastly, we want to know the number of workstations / employees that they have. This kind of gives us an idea of the size. I chose to use a text field. We could make this a radio button and then put numbers, but that gets a little hairy. You don't want a huge list, so we could also do groupings like maybe 1 through 5, 5 through 10. For now, we just kind of left it as this. So, okay, let's take a look at this in action. So let's go back. We're going to look at the list. So let's just pick a prospect at random here. So this brings up the detail page where you could write notes. So this is the master note for this prospect. Now we can assign the different. Well, actually, before we do that, so I want to filter this by the region so that we have people that are in the region. So you can filter by location, and you can filter by these customized items here. So let's filter it and limit all the companies that are in Rancho Cucamonga. We're not assigning them anything yet, so let's just search for those. So now we find we've limited the scope, and now this has 1,818 prospects. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose one here. So this company, it's under region, it's selected. Now, if we've called them and we found out that they use a TechSavvy employee and they have, let's say, 8 employees, we could save this. And then when we come back into the list later, and we want to send a campaign to all companies that have TechSavvy employees, we could then target the message specifically to that person. We could filter the list. We can choose TechSavvy employees, and we're going to assign this to a campaign. We could add new campaigns, and we hit search, and we see that it's limited the results to just the company that is in this section. And then we could save it to the campaign, and the campaign has its own set of values that I'll get into. So let me jump into the campaign right now, because I've already assigned this group to this campaign. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing sales calls to find out who and what they're doing. So if you notice, remember we updated this company. So when you go into the campaign, now you notice these fields are already set. And I won't go into it now, but when we set up a campaign, a campaign also has its own set of stages and attributes. These are client-facing, and we actually can create a web form that a client or a prospect can use to add their information into the system. So let's say we're doing web marketing, we're doing, let's say, a Google advertisement, and we embed a link to this page. It'll take you right to the page. You know, I can quickly show you an example of this. So this is a page that we set up for a client, and they can enter in their information. It'll go directly into the system. So that's an example of a public-facing form field, and they would be able to input their information into our system. So from here, we could this particular campaign, we're going to be pre-flighting it, and the goal is to quickly run through these and find out who is a good prospect, so that we could then maybe send a mailer to. And while you're doing this, you can take notes, you can update the employee. You can click on employee, you can add a new employee, and notice there's two people in here, and so what we can do is, say we call them, like, oh, it's the other person's responsible for it. We can actually see there, we can choose that person and then attach them to the list, and then that's going to change who is going to be receiving, or the primary contact. But we also want to know what other people have been involved in this campaign as we're getting the information. So that's a you know, there's more features I can dive into, but that's pretty much the system in a nutshell. And thank you for your time. It's just my first quick walkthrough, so I apologize if I stumble a little bit here, but I thank you for your time and have a good rest of your day.